So a few moments of your time, if you guys would like to win this awesome, brand new, never used Bell MX-9 MIPS in the cool 7 colorway, all you got to do is subscribe, and in 1 or 2 weeks time, I'm going to pick one of the subscribers and notify you and send it to you free of charge. What's up, guys? It is an exciting week for Supercross fans. We're finally getting to see the 250 East riders show up, do their thing. The field is stacked. There's literally 5, 6, 7 riders that can easily win. Both of the 250 Supercross overall winners from last year are racing, RJ Hampshire and Tom Vialle. So it's going to be a really exciting and kind of unknown in terms of what we're going to see. We have Levi Kitchen, who is possibly, I would say, the rider with the highest ceiling in terms of ability and riding skill, not to discredit Cole Davies and Deegan and Julian Beaumer, but that's what's cool about the 250 class is I feel like there's way more questions than the 450 class. And so it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about what I'm expecting, what possible upsets we could, see, what rider could suddenly make that step or 2 steps up. And as we saw with Julian Beaumer, that's why hardcore fans love the 250 class is, we love talking about the Lawrences and the Tomacs and the Sextons, but once a rider gets to the 450 class, we kind of know what to expect from them. We know where they're going to shake out. We know what their sort of potential is. And it's not to limit their potential, but we know what kind of rider they are. And typically by the time they get to the 450 class, we know where they fit in. Well, the 250 class is the developmental class. And so every year, Julian Beaumer and Cole Davies being 2 fantastic examples of this phenomenon is pretty much from 3 months ago to today, they are different riders, or I would say last season to this season. And so it's fun to speculate who is going to be the next rider to make that similar step up. And that's what we're going to talk about. So before I get into the rider specifics, what is cool is it is deep. It is stacked. We got Max Anstey, Pierce Brown, Chance Hymas, Faulkner, Vialle, RJ Hampshire, and Kitchen. As you can tell from those names, this is a deep field. Both of the title winners from last year, RJ and Vialle, are showing up. It's also going to be their last year in Supercross. I believe the rule is still in effect that when you win a title, you get to defend it 1 year, and then you get a mandatory bump up. So that's always I would imagine, a kind of a scary prospect as a 250 rider that, you're getting thrown to the wolves when you move up to the 450 class. So for RJ and Vialle, now is the time to, make lemonade when the sun's out, when you got the lemons, because chances are your wins are going to be much harder fought when it comes to the 450 class, and just getting on the podium is going to be a Herculean level effort. So I'm going to expect for RJ and Vialle to be just really possibly more motivated than anyone else, because they got to do it. Their 250 career is coming to an end, unless the rule change. Hopefully there's not some different stipulation that I'm not aware of. But from what I have understand, it has been the case. You win a title, you get a year to defend, and then you're moving up to the big boy class. So, boy, not a sort of enviable position for most 250 riders. As we know, the 450 class is a nightmare if you're just not some generational prodigy. So some of the interesting riders that I'm kind of curious about, and one really comes to mind, is Pierce Brown. Man, if ever there was a emblematic moment that sort of exemplifies the "what have you done for me lately" phenomenon, it is Pierce Brown. He, not to disrespect him, kind of did nothing for a couple years, didn't really have any standout results, a lot of frustration, a lot of challenges. And then here comes SMX, the last race. He wins the overall. He goes, I believe, 1 and 2. I have never seen industry expectations, fan expectations elevate more quickly than what I've witnessed with Pierce Brown. The good side of that is you're riding a new wave of confidence, of fan support, of notoriety. He's now on the pretty much premier team in the 250 class, Star Racing Yamaha. You were one of the few guys to beat Deegan straight up, although he was probably playing it conservative, trying to make sure he wraps up the SMX title, so you have that asterisk, but he rode phenomenal in last year's last SMX playoff round. But the bad side to that is, holy smokes, he went from a rider that a top 5 would have been regarded as a fantastic result to hang his hat on. And now I'm not sure if he's expected to win, but man, he is expected to be right around the podium, knock off a win if he can. And this is just a total juxtaposition from where he's been at the last year and the year before that, where he's just, again, he struggled. He didn't really have any standout performances, and it was just not looking too promising. Well, he figured it out. Now he's on the best team. We know Star Racing Yamaha is kind of infamous for making it very clear what their expectations are, and that is to win. They're not there to hold your hand and sort of build you up and sort of inflate your sense of self and your self-worth. They expect, hard-headed riders to be on their team, ready to win, and you got to deliver, because if you don't, you're going to get booted. So I believe it's a 1-year contract to even further demonstrate this phenomenon. So I'm really curious to see what Pierce Brown does. Does this pressure elevate him? Has he made further off-season gains? Could he literally do what Julien Beaumer did this year, just come out and look like a totally different rider with the confidence, the ability, that grittiness? That's what's cool about the 250 class. That is on the table. Would it be shocking if Pierce Brown won the overall title? No, I would say it's a surprise. He's definitely not the favorite, but it would just fall under that category of, man, that's why we love the 250 class. So I'm paying close attention to Pierce Brown, because he has definitely got, I wouldn't go as far as hype, but people were really excited at last year's performance against Deegan. So let's see what he can do to back it up, because the expectations are many times higher than it's ever been in his career. Next interesting person of note, Max Anstey, fan favorite, I believe he's British, hopefully. Yeah, he's British, was on one of the smaller satellite Honda teams, privateer effort, was leading the overall title for a period of time, then had a bike malfunction last year, but won, I believe, a couple of races, at least a race, but looked fantastic, really consistent, just has that ability to just deliver those solid laps, lap after lap, looking good, not overriding. So a very intelligent and also just a rider that is mature, not only in terms of his style, but he's also a lot older. I think is he 30, or he's many years older than most of his peers. And so you figure out how to approach the game. You learn what works, what doesn't work, what training approach is best for him and sort of his temperament. And so this is where age and wisdom becomes an advantage. If you can still back up the physical side and the intensity side, well, you learn, you get smarter, you adapt, you understand what works and doesn't work, a la Eli Tomac at 3 kids, 32. He's still at the top of his game. And I believe you get smarter with age. So that is going to be really cool, because, again, the expectation is to win. Star Racing Yamaha has a shotgun approach. As Daniel Blair said, they sign any rider that they believe has even a remote chance at winning the title, and I believe they would love to see Max Anstey do it. It would be cool. I don't know when the last British rider was to win a title, if ever, so that would be a pretty cool thing to get the British fans rallied around, and that would be awesome. So that's going to be cool to see. He was raced a few motocross rounds on the Yamaha, raced the SMX, was kind of under the radar, but that would be expected after coming from the Honda to a totally different bike and chassis. And I believe he's a little bit more of a supercross specialist. So here we go. Moment, time to shine. It's going to be exciting. So a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and it'll be interesting to see how he responds now that he's got the best equipment, best engineers, and the best support. Levi Kitchen, you could easily make the argument, is the favorite. He won 3 races, I believe back-to-back last year, looked phenomenal, has that smooth, calculated riding style that tends to lend itself well to Supercross. Had that incident with Cameron McAdoo that ended up ruining both their title chances, unfortunately. But I definitely look for Levi to be one of the best guys. You could say he's probably the title favorite. I believe, again, similar to Cole Davies and Beaumaire, he's got that riding style that makes him well suited for indoors. Smooth, understanding how to sort of approach it in a calm, let the track come to you and go slow to go fast kind of way. So Levi Kitchen easily could be the title winner. Really was looking like the odds-on favorite last year until that incident with McAdoo. RJ Hampshire, again, is in that position where he's moving up. It is awesome seeing him win the title last year. He is a just slow grinder of an athlete. Is he necessarily the most exceptionally naturally talented? I would say no. That's not to discredit him. In fact, the contrary. It's to throw props to his ability to just stay disciplined, stay hungry, stay in this sort of chasing the carrot kind of mode. And I believe in doing so, that's how he was able to win the title. And it's fantastic. It's exciting to see a rider like RJ that is a blood and guts style dude. He gives it 150%. There's no quit in him. And you can see the effort in his riding. Is he a Jet Lawrence or a Cole Davies or a Chase Sexton? I would say no. That kind of journeyman veteran that fights through it, that sort of has that ability to just endure and continue to battle through the young, hot prodigy rookies that are always coming into the class. So it was awesome to see him get the win. And this is it. If he wants to win any more races or another title, it's got to be this year because he's moving to the very intimidating 450 class. So Tom Vialle also won the title last year, a two-time 250 MXGP champion, I believe. You could also make the argument that he is the favorite. This is, again, a last year opportunity if he wants to clock up any more wins or titles. So it could easily come down to Tom Vialle versus Levi Kitchen, or RJ Hampshire could easily be right there in the mix. I expect him to be, but it'll be interesting to see what Tom Vialle is able to do. It'll be interesting to see what Tom Vialle is able to do. We know the KTM is dialed. It's figured out. Whether you look at Chase or Julian, it's pretty clear that the work in the offseason and over the past, I would say, year or so has yielded, sort of has come to fruition, and the bike looks superb. I mean, whether it's Chase or Julian, you can see when a bike really has that sort of that inherent stability, that traction, that level of calmness. And it's like they look like they're going slower while they're going faster. And it's because, sort of contrary to what the Honda was dealing with in the earlier part of the season, it's just so stable. It just looks effortless to ride. It's on rails, and you can see it when they hit those corners in both Beaumaire and Sexton. It's like they're on rails. It's like the bike just squats into that rear tire. It's generating all that power, all that grip, and it looks like they're on a slot car race when other bikes are kind of swapping front and back because the traction and the bike's unsettled. So could I imagine Tom Vialle coming out and just lighting the world on fire? Easily. Would not surprise me. The dude has got the skill. Last year's motocross season was a disappointment. Supercross hangover, possible, but Deegan got the better of him, also in SMX. But I expect him to be sort of chomping at the bit the off season, taking advantage of the time off and going, okay, I want to reassert myself last year to do it in the 250 class. So let's do it. Let's get another Supercross win and then try to win his first 250 outdoor championship before moving up in, I believe, 2026. He has to. Chance Hymas is a question as to whether he'll show up. He's still recovering, so there's not yet been a confirmation as to whether he will or will not be there. So that has yet to be determined. But that leads us to the most interesting rider, Austin Forkner. He's on the Triumph, a bike that has been proven under the likes of Jordan Smith. He's been just crushing it in the West Coast 250 title competition. I believe is 2 points out of the lead. So he looks like he could easily win the overall for the Supercross West Series, which would be just absolutely superb. So it's clear that the Triumph is dialed. They got a seriously competitive bike in spite of it only being 2 years old in development. This is literally something that in relation to their competitors that have decades of experience and sort of data and engineering know-how and just experience of what works, what doesn't work. Triumph is literally like an infant compared to Yamaha, Suzuki, Honda. So to see the success that they're already having, a bike as good as it is, developed with Ricky Carmichael, he was very influential in sort of guiding and sort of providing the direction for the bike. And I can't imagine a better rider than the GOAT in the sport. So hard to imagine his role did not help shape the bike and make it as good as it is. One of the best looking bikes. The finishing in sort of the build quality is second to none. It's gorgeous. But Austin Forkner is going to be racing this bike, a big team change, a very well-served time to make a change, try something new. And I've already made a video talking about the need for Austin to approach it in a different way. Title aspirations need to be just thrown out the window. Even racing for a win, I believe, should be low priority. All he should be focused on, Austin Forkner, is making it through the season. That's it. Get your laps in, show up, leave, focus on the next race. This is a building year. That's what I'm looking for Austin Forkner. Slow, diligent, incremental sort of improvements. And improvement one at this point is make it through the season. Improvement two will be focusing on results, but we can't worry about that till we get this box checked. I'm a big Austin Forkner fan, and that is why I am saying this. Is I'm trying to reserve my excitement and my belief that he is one of the best riders out there. He has battled and beaten Chase Sexton and Jet Lawrence and many of the biggest names in the 450 class. Well, I believe Austin Forkner has that level of speed and ability, but we just got to take it back to step one, and that is making it through the season. So that is the focus for me. That's what I want to see, but I want to know what you guys think. What riders are you looking out for? Who do you think's the favorite? Who do you think's going to outperform expectation? Anstie, Pierce Brown, RJ. It is a deep field. It's like that's what's cool about Supercross, and the regional 250 division is it's literally like Anaheim 1 all over